Go.
Okay, cock and bull. My God, we just had a show in the evening and we're back in the morning with the same people. This is like a marriage. I hate you, Amit, and I hate you, Silver. I don't want to see your faces. Thank God Mahrukh has joined us. Something fresh and female before no Me Too cases smashed against me. I want to quickly just mention to everybody who doesn't know that Sadhvi Pragya, arguably India's greatest leader, intellectual and humanitarian, has said that cow urine has kept her happy. And I'm going to try it. I think you should not knock things until you try it. So who's with me? We try it. Let's see how our immunity goes up or down. And so once the show's over, I'm off to find my local cow, and I'm going to wait till she pees on me, and then I'm going to give her an update, guys. And I ask you all to do the same. No, no, Maru, please don't laugh. Please try it. Try it
No,
once.
no. You have to find a desi cow first, Cyrus, and then
Oh,
there's a whole filtration
let me
process.
write this down. There
Yeah.
are rules I didn't see.
Yes,
So the cow has to be a desi cow of Indian origin,
yes,
right?
of Indian origin,
What if
and
it
should
was?
be on a certain feed, a certain kind of feed, and then you have to filter the urine 15 times over in a desi cloth or in a muslin cloth. You can't just go around
Yeah.
and drink any kind of cow urine.
I mean, I'll spend as much time waiting for my vaccination then. What the hell is this? 15 times with a muslin cloth, and I mean, and the same cloth, I presume, again and again.
I'm guessing, yeah. I
The
didn't go
cloth
into
will, the
those many
cloth's
details.
immunity will be unbelievable. The cloth's really going to be safe. Wow. So, I mean, can I even ask you what you think of what you reckon member of parliament comes up with these kind of comments, and second time, in fact. Um,
I think for Pragya, the basic thing was that she was missing. She was completely out of action. She was missing, and there was actually an award on her, 10,000 bucks. That's what a Congress leader said. That why don't we go around and find out where the member of parliament is in
you'd
Bhopal?
look under a cow.
No.
Cloth, of course. I'm sorry. The cloth was
Yeah.
important. Yeah. Uh.
So I guess she was trying to divert attention. She obviously has a terrible record as a member of parliament. She's also had COVID apparently last year.
Yeah.
She
December.
had
Yeah.
COVID symptoms in December. She was
Yeah.
admitted to a hospital, and now she's going around saying whatever she is. So obviously, the best possible tactic for a politician: divert attention by giving some
Okay.
mumbo jumbo.
Last.
About 2 years back, she had also, or maybe a year back, she had also claimed that cow urine cured her cancer, which is another thing she had
Mm.
But I just want to get
put
back
out.
to this. So when she went to hospital, and I don't want to go on about this. Did she take the cow with her? Because I can't see the doctor. Let's say Dr. Saxena comes there and says, "What would you like? Vaccine? Yeah, guy pisab." I mean, how does that work? I don't know.
I think she should do a
No.
detailed press conference on this.
I,
Maybe that's where we'll kind of figure.
but I can understand. Are you really? Is that your thinking, or is that your avatar that you want to project because you believe certain people like that kind of story, and so you don't project it? But or do you really actually believe that? That's the
I,
question.
be- I think they actually believe that. I don't think this is just part of, diverting attention. And I think they
Hmm.
actually believe it and they're actually doing it. Some of them are actually doing it. They believe
Yeah.
this is some old Ayurvedic science. And obviously, with due respect to Ayurveda, this is some
You
strange
have to
kind
say
of.
that. You must say that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, you had your health minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, last year actually give government money to have a study done on finding out whether cow urine was effective. So obviously, they believe this.
Great. Bull.
It's very easy to kind of start believing in your own delusions, right? I mean, like it's gradual. It doesn't like, you don't just go straight to like, let's drink cow urine, all things are good, right?
Hmm.
It's more of a like, it's a step by step. It's indoctrination, right? I mean, like the way anything you get indoctrinated into, like religion, like, I mean, a cult, like anything of that, it's the same kind of thing. Just step by step. Like, there are a
Or they
series of steps to
simply
get you to that point.
they kowtow to the more extreme forces in their tribe and just allow it to happen in spite of
But
education and a
I
certain
think that
enlightenment.
I think there are some like that, but I think that those people are generally careful about how they talk, right? Like I mean, like no, I mean, like you look at there are cynical members of these kinds of nationalist parties, right, who are basically just riding a wave. I mean, like I do believe the prime minister and home minister are somewhat like that, right? I mean, like I think that they are riding a wave in the sense that they're not as irrational as the people who follow them are. So I mean, like I think that that is 100% there too.
Yeah, the only problem is that you vote someone into power who actually believes that cow urine will solve everything. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a potential prime minister there. I mean, potential. So, having
I
said that,
mean,
you
but
could
in
be.
case of Pragya Thakur, she actually had terror charges against her. I mean, first you completely ignore that. You relegate that. You here you're, legislating on laws that any member of parliament with a criminal record will not be allowed to, go into polls or actually get into the parliament. But you have a person with terror charges in parliament today,
And
and
Mahrukh,
then she has the right. Yeah,
no, sorry, don't go on, go on, go on.
no, she has the right to go on a public platform and espouse these kind of unscientific beliefs. And she does have a constituency that pretty much believes whatever she says. So, I mean, it's never ending. The
Mhm.
cycle is never ending.
No, and she also has made many polarizing comments post the charges. It's not like that she's reined it in. A couple of times they've actually High Command has actually told her to back off because it's been so embarrassing. So that's the other amazing part. I mean, I thought if you make polarizing conversations and things like that, some sort of action will be taken because you're enticing people to misbehave. But that obviously in any part of
No,
India.
absolutely. She has been at the one of the leaders of the hate brigade, as I like to call them, and she has been reined in. But obviously, she is popular. Nevertheless, she has a certain kind of popularity, and primarily, individual leaders in parties, especially members of parliament, also try to come up and do their own thing, despite the party whip or what the party high command says. They try to fight it and try and say whatever they want to occasionally because they need to keep their own domestic constituency happy. But with what Pragya is doing right now, clearly because of the kind of bad press she's got for not being around and not helping anybody during the second wave, she's now started this whole thing of
It's not
saying that
true.
I've.
She's kept a cow outside the apartment and said, please use with care, with some cloth nearby as well. I'm sure. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what would be amazing? It would be great to hear that Tamil Nadu minister who went off on Sadhguru. I'd
Hmm.
love to hear what he had to say about something like this, right? I mean, like that was like one of the most articulate takedowns of the quote unquote godmen kind of stuff that we've been seeing off late, right?
The
And
rationalist wave against the spiritual wave in
yeah,
India.
it was such a on point this, right? Like, 'cause it's always been a question, right? I mean, like they talk about property rights being abrogated when these temples are being controlled by the government, and so it's always been like kind of a weirdish question. And I find it so I've never seen such an articulate like takedown of that position. That yeah, no, of course the government has to do it. These temples were made by kings. Who else are we supposed to give? Are you just supposed to give it to whoever they want to, whoever you want to? It has to be a government property thing. So it was a
Actually,
really
he's a politician to watch out for.
yeah.
He's a
In a
very,
good way or a
extremely
bad way?
in a very good way. In a
Yeah.
very good way.
Which is rare to
Well
say.
educated, knowledgeable, articulate, and I think a politician of the future.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we see
Or
Hmm.
more of
maybe
that.
not. He doesn't have enough hate politics. Speaking of which, Amit, why can't I become a politician? Because I rant every day. And
That's
everything,
true.
I've got a lot of hatred in me, a lot of
Yes, you
viciousness and
do.
malice. And I think I'm perfect. I just
I
don't have a cow. I have two dogs, and I may get a cat. Maruk, you're the expert
But
here. So does that count
I
for
think
anything?
I think the future needs leaders like you, Cyrus.
Yeah.
Start a party. Trust me. In due course of time, you will have a following. You
Yeah,
already do, but I'm talking about the political kind.
you,
But at
you
the moment,
know,
the only people I hate are police. Is that good enough? Because you have to hate a type, right? So I'm going to my hate police phase. So is that
so
okay, Amit? Or
yeah, yeah, you should make a political party like Abby Hoffman did, right? I mean, like the Yippies.
Hmm.
They never fought an election, but they were a very big. The
a
guy,
lobby?
yeah, like the guy from the Chicago Seven, that
Oh,
guy. So him and so two of them, Abby Hoffman and the other guy who was his best friend. I can't remember his name offhand, but the two of them started this thing called the Yippies. It was like the 60s and 70s. They did these like bizarre sets of performance art in like middle of large cities and stuff like that to kind of get across like their point of view. You should start a Yippies type party over here for sure.
I
Don't
just
try
want
and fight elections. I
to.
don't think you want to
See,
do
every
that.
time we talk about whatever we're talking about, people think we're elitist and insensitive because cyclone is killing people, they're losing their homes, blah 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 blah. And my worry is Wi-Fi. Fair enough. So, but I'm saying surely there are people like me because everyone should be selfish and think about their own tribe. So I get my tribe of elite together, and then it's a huge thing. Okay, you don't have to compare your pain with my pain, but everybody's got their own pain. That's it. as long as we
But
have
it's a fair
numbers.
point. It's a
Fair
fair
point.
point. I mean, people who are privileged often I seriously mean it, because people who are privileged often feel that they don't. It's not that the people who are elitist or privileged don't have issues. They do, but you
Correct.
might have you'll have minority status in parliament.
In Malba Hill in the 90s, before the BJP government, having only one chauffeur was a big issue. You look down upon, and they'd be, oh, Mrs. Desai ke paas ek hi driver hai. Oh, bloody hell, yaar, don't kids don't play with them. Huh? It was like that. It's very painful for Amit. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Come on. So all I'm saying is, why be insincere and act that you really care about the farmer's plight? And obviously, I'm not saying we're that insensitive. We don't, but you don't really invest in anything. So let's just
Hmm.
talk about ourselves, because there the passion will flow normally and correctly. And at least
I
what
think
I'm
if you stand for elections, people will actually come out and vote, especially in Malabar Hill and South Mumbai.
Malba Hill, they don't vote anyway. They don't even know when the
But maybe
elections are.
seeing you, they'll feel, oh, this guy really cares for our issues. Chauffeur,
If you
Wi-Fi.
can involve the building WhatsApp, because Malba Hill building WhatsApps is very dynamic. Every
Ah.
day they wish each other, they mention different gods, they talk about life in general, they send pictures of devastation. They're touched by Palestinian plight in Israel. It's amazing. So I
Really, your WhatsApp groups are touched by Palestinians' plights. My
so somebody
WhatsApp
sends a
groups
yeah.
are mostly like, all the pro-Israel,
Pro-Israel.
BJP. Yeah.
That my group doesn't get into the politics too much. Not because they don't hate enough, but they're just
Oh.
stupid. I don't think they know enough. So there's no point, going to a site and then Yom Kippur is a restaurant. You can't. It's so they don't get into that. But what I like is that little knowledge that the internet gives you. So everybody wants to be part of the little knowledge. So they throw the little knowledge out there and say it's coming from me. See, I care. I know nothing about Israel or Palestine or the plight or the Middle East or how that happened or whatever. But I want to just put my name up there for being part of the movement that told you about this as well. So
Yeah, like that whole hashtag Black Lives Matter, which was started by a whole number of people who didn't
yeah,
really understand that, but
yeah.
were quite insensitive to issues happening in India.
No. They were all for Black Lives Matter and felt really bad and cried when they saw the 9.5 minutes of the guy kneeling on our friend and all that. But then they turn around and tell the son that she has to find a Gori wife, otherwise it won't work
Yeah.
out. we we live in a different world altogether. Yeah, very. America में जो हो रहा है वो उसका जो
बहुत
दर्द है,
गलत है.
I'm feeling it right now, yeah, really. Or you throw your maid out because it's a COVID and we can't take a chance. Go walk. Meerut is only what 4,000 kilometers. Keep going straight. Take a right somewhere, Agra, and you reach. Yeah, so don't start me off. I hate
God.
Mulbail at the moment, so I just can't stand them. By the way, we've lost lots of trees. I don't know about you guys, but my entire lane is a mess. It's quite sad. It looks like Alibag,
Oh,
which is now a
really?
terrible thing to say. But all the
This
lovely
is a
trees are
scary
gone.
thing for me to say because you're going to be recording from home tomorrow, and if you're in Alibag, that would not be good.
Yeah,
Mm.
God, Amit, every time I say I'm going to Alibag, you start having a heart attack.
Yeah, palpitate.
You'll call up somebody and say, bank 5. Yeah, sorry, we digressed. Let's get back. Yeah. But
So
why can't
this
we be
you were talking about
politicians? Honestly, at some point, some of us have to become politicians because we just sit there and we cannot identify with any of these guys. Yeah. I mean, Sadhvi is, on the 43 degrees of separation. If I hung out with her at a cocktail party, what would we talk about except that I like animals? I can't think of another thing. So then
Or
we'll
maybe the
discuss
champagne that you're drinking reminds her of you know what.
urine. Mahrukh, you really know my
that is so
cheapness,
true.
huh? हाँ बेटा मिक्स करके देना सबको गाय को इधर बुलाओ. Yeah, we've got a winner with this. Yeah. Urine industry has been created.
So
Fantastic.
it's not just urine, by the way. There have been rising cases of people rubbing cow dung on themselves, thinking that it's a cure for COVID. So much so that doctors are having to warn against that also, saying, "Kid, guys, don't do this.
Why,
There is
why
no
are they
medical
warning?
advantage to this." Yeah,
I mean,
but no, because they
some
have to
people like
warn because
cooking,
of
some
fear.
want to learn a foreign language. They rub cow dung. I mean, it's something to do, man. I don't see what the big deal is, really.
Some doctors, because some doctors are saying that this could be the reason behind the spread of the new disease called black fungus, or this,
From the cow
which
dung?
is on the rise. Yeah, from the cow
Mm.
dung,
Isn't
black
black fungus a
fungus
lung
disease.
infection?
No,
It,
so essentially what happens is that it comes from some kind of bacterial infection, right? And so they're saying that because of the cow dung on you, and cow dung has all kinds of zoonotic organisms on it. So you might breathe that, or because it's on your body and you're sitting out in the sun and baking yourself. So the chances of contracting other kind of bacterial infections also rises. They haven't been able to
But you
figure
don't
out
need to
a
be a
direct
doctor to
connection
think that
between.
If
Yeah,
you're going
not
to
yet.
spend time with cow droppings without being a scientific mind, I mean, you would probably think it's a bad idea, right? And that you would get something from it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
urine, dung. I mean, like, there is a there is a reverence for the cow, right, which allows for its waste products to be used, or people to think that they can be used. And again, like, a cow dung is a fuel, right? So it's not like people in rural India are not used to handling cow dung. It's a fuel. So I guess maybe
But
it's not that.
it sort of dies properly, before it becomes a fuel, right? Doesn't it?
No, you have to dry it and
You
cake
have to
it and
dry it
like,
and
yeah,
cake it, and so by the time
yeah,
it's almost a solid piece, and then you can make it into
yeah.
art.
But
Mm.
the point being that you
What
handle
are we
it, right?
doing with
Is
this show? We're discussing urine and dung.
yes. Well, yesterday we were talking
Yesterday
about
was the
Yesterday
frogs.
frog
was
in my mouth.
frogs. Yeah. Yeah.
And we're calling. I can't call her Sadhvi Pragya after this year. I mean, she's just one of us.
Sorry, Mahrukh, just so you know, we had a long 25-minute conversation about the frog that was stuck in Cyrus's toilet in Alibag.
Hey. Silvery had a parallel story to tell, so I'm not the only one.
And
No,
Antariksh
that's
also.
not it. Our sound editor, while editing the episode, told me, "Hey man, this has happened to me in Goa. A frog was in my." I'm like, I think all the
You
people who have had these frog experiences are at IBM.
tell Sadhvi Pragya
Basically.
to also check out frog urine, because obviously that's a very prevalent condition in all parts of rustic India, and maybe that's an easier way to access some cure. Because all you have to do is sit on the pot. It's that same time of the day, and then hopefully that emission happens between both parties. Right? Instead of froggy, may I cross your golden river? It's like it's well, my golden river, and froggy, all the best. Sorry, Maruk, intellectual property of the
I
show has
know,
gone up.
exactly. Yeah. We bring Mahrukh
We
on for
nearly
this
had a sponsor
conversation.
until this one. Yeah, poor thing. He's got to lecture us about
Uh,
the wildness of Indian politicians. But
No,
God, so
no,
that
but talking about cow dung, what was kind of reassuring, I don't
you
know,
can't beat him,
is
join him. Huh?
yeah, was that at least people like Akhilesh Yadav were actually calling it out. This whole thing of we must also understand that these kind of stories are highlighted by the Western press. I mean, it's gleefully they put out stories
Why
after
not?
stories. It might just be one incident. There are enough quacks in the US and in Europe also. It's not just in India. And I'm not discounting what's happening here.
You're sounding a bit like
But
Kangana.
you
I'm getting
know,
scared.
I'm saying there are all kinds of, but at least people from the political class are calling it out. There was a time when they would actually stay away from commenting on such issues because it would hurt sensitivities of a certain kind, a certain section of their constituency. Now, at least they're coming out and saying that what is this? This is unscientific. It doesn't work. So there is some hope somewhere. But the funny part was that there's one center where this whole cow dung therapy is happening in Gujarat, which is right opposite a vaccine center, a facility where a vaccine is being produced or right now being worked on. So, we
Hey,
really work on
Maruk, but that's
dichotomies.
great marketing. I'll tell you why. Because every time you go there, like my mom had to go 3 times, old lady and all that. You go there, or there's a big line, and they say no vaccine available or out of stock or whatever. Then you obviously go to the next option. It's just like human nature.
No, this is a facility where they're actually making the vaccine, not
Oh,
inoculating people.
okay. How sad. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
but they can use help from opposite the road. Wow, it's amazing. But what if it's true? After all this cynicism from us, what if it turns out that it's a miracle liquid? Urine is like water of the 21st century.
Yeah,
Just
I've
the
been
best
Yeah.
we
hearing
can.
it's a miracle liquid since I was four
This
years old.
Moraji Desai offered
Yeah,
it to cabinet ministers.
it was literally when I was 4 years old. My first trip to India when I was a kid in the US. I was told that I was told about Moraji Desai and drinking urine, and would you like some? Was
Drinking
asked
his
to
own
me.
urine, huh? Yeah, again, that's very important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Marut, you're the expert, I'm told. So can't- drinking somebody else's urine is some sexual perversion. Drinking your own urine is for health. Am I right? It's got to be
I
the other
reserve
way.
my comments.
There's a story about jellyfish. Somebody was saying that if a jellyfish stings you
It's
and
supposed
Yes.
you,
to,
you pee
yeah.
on the wound,
Hmm.
You have
it
pee on your
negates.
leg. It
You have to
does
pee on your.
not.
It does not work.
It does not.
You've done
Oh,
it.
that's a myth. Or
No, it's a
okay.
myth. It's a myth that's been around for a long time. It's a very common myth. Basically, if you pee on your leg after a jellyfish has stung you, you still have a jellyfish sting, which with pee on your leg now. That's the only difference.
It's just a bakra basically. You got two
Yeah.
problems now. Oh
Yeah.
God.
What works is vinegar. I just
Where are you going to find vinegar? You're on a beach. I mean,
listen. I just saw this on a quiz show where they were kind of talking about this, and I found out about this at like in the last 20 days. Is when I found out that that actually urine does not work because it's so ingrained, right? I mean, like we
Yeah.
always have heard this that you go to a beach, somebody pee, and then there was that Friends episode which
Friends
we've
episode,
all
of
seen
course.
like a
Yep.
hundred times,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
And so that kind
after
of
the
reinforced it as
Pragya,
well.
Friends is the next best thing for medical or knowledge options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're doing a reunion also, so that we
There you
might
go.
just
Yeah.
get some
Yeah,
more
I know.
knowledge.
I saw that also this morning. I actually I was very disappointed that it's a reunion, as in like they're all just getting together and talking about the show rather than like
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not an
doing
Yeah.
like
episode.
a
It's,
20 years later thing.
Yeah.
Ah, I
yeah.
thought what
I
was the
would have
Seinfeld
preferred that
reunion?
also.
Was
Yeah.
it like that, or was it? It was
Which one?
The Seinfeld reunion was the same. They just chatted, right?
They all chatted. They
Yeah.
did it for
What's the point of that?
Seinfeld. They did it
Yeah,
for
For
West
Curb.
Wing.
but
No,
that's
there
not
was
it. Yeah.
there's an entire season, the seventh season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is a whole Seinfeld reunion season. So if you're
Oh, really?
interested in the
Okay.
actual Seinfeld
I've
reunion,
seen
watch that.
everything
Yeah.
of Larry David.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So
they've
that's
done
how
a
it
Oh,
is.
so they
few.
all come in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
One by
that's
one.
yeah.
That's good. No, they've done a few of these recently,
We've
right?
lost
So
Mahrukh. She has no interest in Seinfeld.
I would guess not.
No, no, I'm more of a Friends fan, not a
Ah.
Seinfeld fan.
Huh? Now look at us. When it comes to Sadhvi and Pragya and all, we're on the same side. But now when it comes to sitcoms, we are divided. You're polarizing us. Friends versus Seinfeld.
I'm on Mahrukh's side. If you were to ask me Friends versus Seinfeld, I pick Friends.
I'm out of the show. Seinfeld is the second greatest comedy ever made in the history of the
I
world.
know.
After Blackadder. Yeah.
Seinfeld does not feel rewatchable the way Friends does. I can watch
Yes.
Friends all the
But
time.
Friends doesn't
because
make me laugh that much. It's like it's nice. It's funny.
it's nice, it's funny.
But
Seinfeld
I
is
died
mean.
laughing. The soup Nazi, I was on the floor. And the boy in the bubble, I was out of the window. It's that kind of funny, you know. I mean, it's another level.
Yeah.
But Seinfeld is, but it's fun. It's really
Amit's-
funny, but it's mean.
Amit, when George takes the job with the New York Yankees, doesn't know what his job is.
I
He
know.
comes and puts the suitcase and looks at the clock and goes to sleep for 8 hours. I mean,
That's so funny.
That's genius,
Yeah, yeah.
man.
Oh god.
That's it. That's all he does. And he-
Agreed.
Then you know the opposite thing has actually become a life philosophy that people follow. Like do the opposite. Whatever your mind tells you, you gotta do the opposite. If every day you're
Hmm.
drinking coffee, drink tea. If every day you order pancakes, order the opposite of whatever pancakes are.
So every day you sleep with
That
a
is-
woman, do you sleep with a man the next? I mean,
I guess yeah, they didn't address
one
that
minute.
part on the
One
show,
minute.
but
So
yeah,
you're
that is-
saying if instead of urine from the cow, you go for the other side?
I guess yes.
Then
you're
you're eating it and
Yeah.
putting it on your body, both at the same
Oh,
time.
And what happens to my Gandhian values of non-violence?
right. It's gone. Sorry,
Instead of
you're
turning the
rewired
other
now,
cheek,
yeah.
I stab you. Let me get it clear. The list. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm eating a biscuit, guys, just to keep the sugar up.
All
Which I don't
right.
need. Today I have high energy today for some reason. I don't know.
This
Mahrukh,
conversation has worked up an appetite for you, hasn't
No,
it?
maybe I've had some urine today. I don't know. I'm just feeling very up.
So since we're having so much fun, I think we can do like a quick fun story before we get to some other serious stuff.
Mhm.
A Mumbai man ordered for mouthwash on Amazon, okay, and he got a smartphone instead, okay, which is already a great deal, right?
Right.
But now he's unable to return the smartphone because the mouthwash is a consumable item, and Amazon's policy says consumable items cannot be returned. So he's just stuck with an awesome smartphone.
Why do you want to return it? Is he
Yeah,
passing?
why would he? No, he's just being good. He's just being like a good Samaritan. He wanted to he at least tweeted at them saying, "Okay, hey
What
guys, I'm not able to
smartphone
return
is
this."
this? Antariksh, what
This is
smartphone
a red.
is
It's
this?
see, so the mouthwash order was a total of like 249 or 349 rupees. The smartphone is worth 11K.
No, which
so it's quite
company?
laudable.
Because it's
Oh,
terrible
it's
for the
Redmi.
company.
It's a
Oh,
it's a
no
Redmi
wonder.
Note.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible for the company. Yeah.
But no. So the joke is like, imagine the guy who ordered for a smartphone and got mouthwash instead because the orders didn't get reversed. Right?
My only worry is
Somebody got-
he shouldn't put the phone in the mouth and start gargling because he has no idea. We've just
Yeah,
spoken
correct.
about some real idiots on the show already. Ouch. But that's Amit. So what happens then? You keep it, right? There's no illegality to it.
He's not done anything
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
He's tried to return it. I mean, like, what is he supposed to do? I don't think you have to. I don't even think you have to really make too much of an attempt to return it. They deliver it to you.
Yeah, correct. You just keep it. Nobody would know. if he had
Yeah,
not
and,
tweeted about it.
have you done anything wrong? I mean, like he's not done
How do they
anything
explain
wrong.
in their accounts? Because they've sent a 249 rupee bill and then they spend an 11,000 rupee product. And there's
Look,
how do you account for that?
I'm sorry, but for Amazon, it's an error. It's not even like it doesn't even qualify as a rounding error, right?
No, 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 no.
For Amazon,
That's different. Okay, that's different.
Hmm.
That's perspective. I'm talking about the fact that it's an accounts thing.
it happens.
Somebody's,
Problems happen. No? I mean, like you always have like breakage. You always have spillage. You have
so
pilferage. All of
it
these
goes in
things you
the
account
collateral
for.
damage file
Yeah.
of small things that pile up.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're running a company at this kind of like scale, you have to assume that like once out of 100,000 times there's going to be an error,
Let's write
and
down the mouthwash. We can all try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And all order. You
I
never
don't care,
know.
red me or green me, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. We'll take them anyway. Uh,
but
wow. So some good news for somebody during the pandemic.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. That's pretty great.
I'm cheap. I
Uh,
love freebie. Mahrukh, do you get excited still when they give you something small at an event? I mean, in the
I
old days,
love it.
I love
I was
it.
just, I love
Yeah.
it. I was just going to say I ordered from H&M, not H&M, Marks and Spencer,
Hmm.
and I got a message saying that the order can't be delivered because all deliveries are shut in Mumbai. This was about a month back, and then I get the package, right?
that's the
And they've
best.
refunded the money, and I've got the package. So I tried calling them. I've sent them emails. They haven't responded. So it's
oh
pretty
wow.
much free.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
I was delighted, but I did my due diligence. I sent the emails. I
Yeah.
tried calling them, but nobody's responded to me.
What
I
more
did
can
That
you?
a bit of.
What more can you do?
yeah, that kind of thing
That's what I want to
happens.
understand.
No, but I think something stuff like that happens every so often, right? And just consider your good fortune. I mean, like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
I mean, like, see, at the end of it, you're going to break your head if somebody, if you lost something. You're not going to break your head if you gain something. You'll
Hmm.
do like, like you said, you'll make one effort, maybe two, but beyond that, who's going to bother, right? If,
Shouldn't the break your head effort come from the broken head person party?
but
They should be calling up and saying, "Bro, we sent you the
Yeah.
wrong thing."
yeah, but see, again, you have to think about it from their perspective, right? If it's a Marks and Spencer's order, let's say it's a 5,000, 10,000 rupee order, something of that nature. If they have to go and start figuring out, okay, I need to get this collected, how many people are going to have to place how many man hours for something they have not identified? It's just probably not worth the effort for
But
them,
does
right?
anybody get penalized? That's the part
So
that
what?
I'm
bothers
sure there
me.
is,
And
because
these
if
are
you're the warehouse manager, and if this
Uh,
happens at your warehouse, like there's an acceptable rate of error, right? Let's say your
hmm.
acceptable rate of error is 0.5%, right? And if your error rate becomes 1%, then you're out of a job. So
Hmm.
people do get responsible, but not
how
probably
do
on
you
an
become such
individual
a
basis.
professional behemoth like Marks and Spencer, Amazon, or whatever, when it appears to be so frivolous and blasé sometimes? I mean, these stories are. I mean, you think they'd be really tight and professional and efficient when it
Hmm.
comes to everything. Especially, it could happen, but they would clean it up. I'm
Okay,
saying, why
but
don't they
Yeah.
clean it up? The
let
cleaning
me
up
let me ask you this question, right? How many times have you heard a story like this?
twice
Very
in
few.
five
Yeah.
minutes.
Huh?
Not too often, but twice now in 5 minutes.
Twice in 5 minutes from two different stores, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazon on a daily basis, if I remember correctly, does something like 750,000 orders a day in India.
Okay.
Wow.
Hmm.
What's the
Oh,
percentile of f ups?
Exactly. I mean,
must be
like,
very low.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how often do
Ballpark,
you hear about this
like
stuff?
point
I'm
zero
gonna
one.
guess that it's like it's probably got to be 99.99% efficient, right? Because that's where most of these guys go for. Actually, Six Sigma is a thing, right? Which is 99.9999% accurate. That is like a gold standard created by this Jack Welch, is the former CEO of GE. Which is basically a way, it's what they expect as like a standard, that if you are a process driven business, you should be 99.999% accurate.
Right now, we can only call Marks and Spencer's out for one thing and Amazon out for one thing. So we don't even hit that
No,
fraction.
but
They still
one
got
of the things
miles
that
to go.
Amazon messes up on all the time is they have that option of, is this a gift and we can wrap it up for you,
Right.
right? 8 times out of 10, they never wrap it up. It just
Hmm.
goes as is, there's no card in it. So obviously they're charging you money, but I've personally experienced that eight
Oh
times out of
wow.
10, it never goes as a gift.
So then I think that is,
No,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
also
that's a fuck
because
up.
after the
Yeah.
divorce, he has to pay the wife a little extra, Jeff. So he's asked them to,
That's
refrain
not.
from doing extra stuff because he's, bleeding here. Yeah. Which I mean, Bill Gates, what's happening there? No one's giving us a settlement figure.
uh,
Amit,
I have
The
no
latest thing
idea.
I read, latest thing I read is there like his wife has been spreading. I don't know if they're spreading rumors, but they're like she's put out like a press release of sorts saying that he was essentially cheating on her.
yeah, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Epstein
So I
bit and all
think
that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so
So
Jeffrey,
But what's the forget all the morality? Who cares anyway after a point?
well, of the
But
Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I care about the morality, and
yeah,
he
that's
has
terrible.
declined. He has decided. He has said that that's absolutely not true. Dude, Jeffrey
he
Epstein, you're
did
talking
spend a
about
night there.
child
There's proof
molestation,
that he
dude.
spent a night at that. Yeah, so the pedophile giri and all is another story altogether.
Yeah.
But he's spent a night there. They have proof that they had a meeting or whatever, and then he came back in the early hours of the morning, like 5, 6 in the morning, from the
Okay.
mansion where all the ill-gotten stuff would happen, etc., etc. But that
Mm.
doesn't
I have
mean
not
that
heard
he
that,
has.
anywhere.
No, that's the thing that she released. It
Who
started in
released his wife?
2019 or 18 or something. Melinda, when he came back late, in the early hours of the morning after spending the night at the mansion,
Okay.
which is a little creepy, no? You're a married
Mm.
man, and it's not like a
It
hostel. You get a
is.
day-night pass and all that. I mean, Saturday morning tak aayega. Bye, bye, baby. It's not exactly like that.
But I don't. So again, I haven't been following it closely, but I haven't read anything about this. I read about him getting caught out for a affair that he had in 99 or 2000, because of which is why he also resigned from the Microsoft board, right? Because
Yeah,
they then investigated the affair that he had. It was with a Microsoft employee.
employee.
Yeah, and that's why he's resigned off the Microsoft board. That's what I've heard. I've heard nothing about this
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein
So,
stuff. I've always consistently heard from everything
but
that I've read, and I've not read much in the last few days, but everything I read before that was always consistently that with the only meetings that were there with Jeffrey Epstein were done on behalf of Nathan Myhrvold, who is a guy who is like this patent king in the US and an ex Microsoft guy.
look, just because all this has happened doesn't mean the guy don't do two and two makes four and
Oh,
all that. I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, don't just rush to think that
uh,
there's criminality, sexual perversion, and all this involved. Well, so I'm going with the fact that it is some sort of adultery, whether it was in 99,
yeah.
2000, or whenever,
Mm.
and she has every right to say, okay, the marriage doesn't have any base to stand on anymore, and that's it. It's a normal divorce in that
Hmm.
sense. I don't think we should you really go
Yeah.
into because we don't have any idea. Honestly, that'll be just
True.
too much.
No, but
But
I've started
yeah.
disliking Mr. Gates after, particularly after that recent interview of his. Did you see where he said that vaccine IP should not be after Biden
Yeah,
signed
I
off
saw
But
that.
didn't he
the
take it
IP
back?
on?
Mm.
No, he didn't.
No, he
He
didn't.
gave an interview to Sky News where the ferocity with which he, completely went against
Mm.
Biden's decision, and also the fact that India was not a place which could produce vaccines. Have you seen that clip? It indicates, on the one hand, he's one of the biggest philanthropists and doing so much for
Given
India.
100 million to the HIV/AIDS Foundation, for which he could
Yes,
account after some time.
but on the
Yeah,
other hand, that interview seemed a little out of place.
He is an IP
So,
fundamentalist. He is. I mean, like that. It's a
it's
flaw.
his crusade.
It's one of the things it's one of the few things I don't admire him for as much as I admire him for other things. But he is an IP fundamentalist. When it comes to intellectual property stuff, he goes off the far end. But that's again, I mean, like this is how he made his billions of dollars.
Yeah.
hmm.
All right. Now that we've got those interruptions in the middle, unprofessionally done by our proprietor and
I
friend,
apologize.
too late. Can we take a quick break?
Yes,
Shall
let's
we,
take a quick
Silvery?
break. Yep.
And tell me, do I have to talk about cred, my friend?
Yes, you do.
Okay, then I have to go back to you. Now,
Yep.
I can't find you. Where the hell are you? Oh, you're right on top. Sorry. Do we go into the first one?
Yep. Sure. First one.
Mahrukh will join us, right? Mahrukh, cred
No,
is a
what
very
is this?
important.
I have no idea what's going
Cred plays
on.
a very important role in our life at the moment. As in, we say their name and then they, chat with us. So far, no money has come. Okay, so you have to just repeat what I'm saying with feeling. All right. I'm a big believer in doing good, and I love it when I get rewarded for doing good.
You
Maru,
honestly want me to say
no,
this?
Marukh's not gonna do this. Marukh is,
I just realized that if Mahrukh says it, I mean, what kind of meaning will it?
yeah,
We'll leave it. We'll leave it.
no,
All we need to do is pay our credit card bills on the Cred app, and the rewards, the cashbacks, and so much more. It's like being a part of an exclusive club. I think I've already said too much. Download Cred, but if they ask you, you didn't hear it from me, Mahrukh. Seriously, huh? If they ask you, because they will ask you, they're like the government; they'll come at you later. All right, so just download Cred. Dun, dun, dun. Uh, this is
What does
advertising
one
of the
do with
21st.
these cred coins? I'm trying hard to
you can
understand.
get a lot of different things for them, right? So I mean, like I got a bunch of discounts for different products that I want to get. So when you go to the store, you can use the coins as a discount thing. They did some CSR stuff where you could exchange coins for oxygen cylinders and stuff like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah,
And
well,
this you can figure out on the app, is it?
you can figure that out on the app itself. Yeah,
Okay.
so they did a bunch
Okay.
of stuff like that as well. But I mean, like fundamentally, the reason I use it more than anything else, all this other stuff is extra, right? It was a nightmare to pay credit card bills.
I
Just
agree with
figuring
you.
out which place you needed to make the payment from, getting notifications on due dates, all of that stuff was just so annoying. This kind of just centralizes everything, all four credit cards on one place. You see when the due
Yeah.
dates are.
Also, yeah, maybe we have a surrogate system. Somebody else pays your credit card bills. I was telling you about how my dad used to pay the alcohol bills when I was young. That's gone. I would love that. That's real friendship. Silvery, will you pay my credit card bills? I have to support a full family and aging parents, and you're
Yeah,
young with nothing to worry about.
I mean, sure. Will I get extra payment?
Uh, 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 Mikhail's Canada admission, if it comes through that 20 lakhs, how will you forex? How will we'll talk offline.
Okay, cool, cool. Chalo, done, sorted.
You may
Yeah.
have to sell a cow. I'm telling you right now. Okay, the break is over, Mahrukh. You didn't even realize how subtle our breaks are. It's unbelievable. Because we learned as youngsters that the breaks are very boring for people. So we keep them very short, and sometimes the break is not even a break. We don't even know there was a break. Sometimes I can't remember. Yeah. But you realize we've become a shopping network on the show now? For the last 25 minutes, all we've discussed is Amazon, Marks and
I know.
Spencer's, credit
And Bill
card bills,
Gates.
Bill Gates, IP
Yeah.
property. Okay, that's fair enough. Right. Silver, do you have a topic?
Antariksh, yeah, give
Yep,
us
yeah,
some
we have another
stuff.
one. So last week, I think about like 5 days back, this happened in Delhi. People had been putting up posters saying the poster said, "Modi ji, हमारे बच्चों की वैक्सीन को विदेश क्यों भेज दिया? Like, why, Modi ji, why have you sent our children's vaccine to foreign countries?" Uh, about 17 persons were arrested for putting up said posters, and under a what some vandalizing law, which is like never used. Like
Yeah.
they never used, like putting up like defacing public property or something. They never used.
It's
People
nothing to do with
hardly ever use
dissenting
that.
views from the center.
Yeah, it's
No,
yeah,
no, no, of
exactly.
course, that's not the
So
reason. Yeah.
yeah, so
Hmm.
so politicians and leaders have been coming out in support of these people and of
Oh,
this
Baba, the
sentiment, and
opposition is coming in support.
being able
We're
to
just completely divided as a country. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, but nobody from BJP is going to say no
That's what.
anything
But
against this anyway. Yeah,
that is a great thing in democracy when that happens. When the party itself
Yeah.
starts having people saying, "What the hell, yeah, this is very
Yeah.
undemocratic."
But I don't
So
think we see that ever in India, do we? Do we see people go against the party? I mean, like, aren't you forced to vote as per party in some ways? You're not allowed to change
yeah,
parties.
On a bill and the party whip being mandatory, is one thing.
Huh.
When you talk about specific issues like a democratic thought, when you stand for those values, like just the fact that in a democracy a person can show dissent and
Can you
argue
give me an Indian example of somebody taking a stance against the party in a
But I'm
significant
saying
way?
it's not the same thing as having to vote for a bill, which they follow the party diktat or whip. I'm saying surely here you can just say, look, this is against freedom of expression. In a
I
democracy,
agree. I'm not disagreeing.
it's simply the only thing that divides us from a fascist empire. You have to be allowed
I
to say, I
think
don't like this.
with the current government at the center, you can't do that. I
You
think
can't.
there's a clear, it's not even a party whip. It's
We
coming
never do
straight
it.
from the Prime Minister's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
This is not even a BJP issue, it's a government issue.
Some critics say
So,
they spend more time looking at who's criticizing them than running the. Yeah.
I mean, look at the example, Cyrus. I mean, from the external affairs minister having that meeting, from an image building exercise that they did, down to each and everything. I mean, yesterday, Dainik Bhaskar did a piece where they looked at tweets of all the ministers in the past 1 month, especially since the second wave came on. And hardly anybody has spoken about or helped out anyone or
yeah,
retweeted a message supporting somebody, just like a random person,
It's
right?
all negative.
All it's all about what the government is doing. It's all about rallies, it's about elections.
yeah,
They've done this analysis, and I'm quite surprised, pleasantly so, with the regional press taking a lead and doing some really incisive pieces, especially Dainik Bhaskar, which in the past hasn't been that aggressive in its reporting. So uh, of course you can't say anything against this government. I mean, tomorrow they might do
yeah.
something to you also, especially with all this
Like in
urine talk.
like in the middle, like just a few weeks back, this was in the reports that people who were like posting on Twitter and all, right, like saying, okay, we need oxygen cylinders, we need remdesivir. the like authorities are going after these people for posting online that you need this stuff and you're in such big
Yes.
trouble.
Even
You're
the
showing the bad side of on Twitter,
even
on
the
social
farmer
media about India.
agitation thing, the psycho fans who lined up for against the farmer agitation was so militant that I didn't realize, why can't you have a discussion? Why is it wrong to voice your opinion and say I'm not happy with the laws? Again, let's not get into who's right or wrong, but the fact that you aren't allowed to talk, and then people from our side of the street actually saying, "How dare you? You're anti-national. How can you?" What's going on? It's a democracy. You have different divergent opinions, and let's talk. You know, from
It's
Kashmir
an
downwards, you have to talk. You can't just throw things into the air and say this is it. That's not democracy.
no, debate is completely lost, and it's
Yeah,
more so on social media. I mean, why else is the fourth estate there? Why else is the media there except for,
there's no media.
discussion? But
It's
there
all taking
isn't.
sides.
So
Yeah.
can I ask you a question? I mean, like this is you brought up social media and you brought up the media one after the other, right? And somebody with the experience you have over there, one of the things that drives me nuts these days when I look at news is covering social media. Why does the news cover social media? I don't
But
understand
take
it.
it. It's
No, I
almost
For a
like
mean, like
variety
they're
of
scared to
reasons.
not cover. They're scared to not cover.
it feels lazy, right? I mean, like you're just pushing.
Uh, I think because social media makes such a huge difference. It is part of our conversation. But there are now trainings done by Reuters, Washington Post, where they say that social media is going to be a part of news gathering. So you have to look at social media for that. Two, laziness. Primarily, reporters don't want to go out and report, and they easily get sources of information from social media. And three, because newsrooms are so short staffed, there are three people who are multitasking all the time, and you have agencies which actually send you the feed, so you don't need to send reporters out. It's a luxury now to send a reporter out to cover news,
Yeah.
because you get it from via agencies like ANI and INS and PTI, and then all you sit is you kind of opinionate on sitting at your desk and put the stories out.
Yeah.
So the
Hardcore
lead
news
is
reporting
Mahrukh.
is
So the lead is
dying.
taken by the social media. Let's face it. I'm sitting in CNBC right now. The social
Yes.
media gives you the lead, and then you work on that. It's not like the TV reporters and the print reporters like in the old days would actually go on ground, find their own stories, and push it forward, and then social media would come behind that. So it's almost like
Absolutely. I
the
mean,
first runner.
print is still doing it, but television by and large just depends on social media and these
Mhm.
wire agencies for most of its information. I mean, today, honestly, if you look at a barkha going out and reporting, that's real reporting,
Yeah.
right? Old style. But that's hardly happening. The rest, there are quite a few good journalists, television and otherwise. They're at home doing interactions like the kinds I do. I'm not going out and reporting, right?
Right.
It's just I'm opinionating, or I'm talking to somebody who's a newsmaker and trying to get some information. A, because I might not have the resources, and B, it takes a lot of effort to go out and do what she's doing.
Yeah.
But that's lost. I mean, compared to what's happening in the West, we don't spend money on news reporting.
So
Yeah.
investigative journalism is gone.
It
I.
is. It's an absolutely dying segment of any newsroom.
Mm,
It
I.
requires a lot of money. There are no instant results. Newsrooms want instant stories. I remember when I was in a newsroom, there was an investigative team that was actually trying to gather information, and they'd got a good piece, but it wasn't the entire story. And they were made to put it out because, this will become old and we need a story right now. We don't have a big story. We need an exclusive. So nobody wants to spend that kind of money.
Mm, that is somewhat sad, but
A lot.
because it just it's so aggravating, right? You see, I mean, I get that. So Kangana Ranaut should be like the last 3 minutes of lifestyle news, right? But
Really.
Not even
instead,
that.
yeah, but I
Hmm.
mean, like instead of that, she's like,
Breaking story,
she's
your
having,
opinion on it. Then you get somebody else's opinion who's not even connected to Bollywood. It just goes
yeah.
on.
And it drives me nuts, right? I mean, like instead of talking about the things that she is talking about from, like, a this is this issue that we should be talking about. Let's talk about the violence in West Bengal. Instead of that, we're talking about Kangana's conversation about West Bengal and people's reaction to her, and that just drives me insane. It's like
It
it
is.
feels like there's no additive value to that kind of conversation.
What
It's a
it's
big
it's
reason why I've
it's
completely just.
clickbait.
Yeah.
Like you say clickbait, it's the same
Yeah.
thing that television is trying to do.
Mahrukh, what about the rhinoceros in the room and his agenda, which set the agenda in 2020 for everyone? I speak of rhinoceros because Assam is famous for the rhino, and Goswami comes from Assam. So my, intelligence is revealed there because it started with cow urine. It must end with a rhino's horn. So I'm saying he also set the agenda with some ridiculous stories. Now they are ridiculous. Yeah, if you remember June of last year,
Yes.
the suicide, all the
Yeah.
pontificating, all the browbeating and emotional charged conversations which went nowhere. So I mean, they've just destroyed journalism, haven't they? Because he is
They
popular.
have. They have, and I think a lot of the younger generation doesn't know the difference. That's the most terrifying part. At least my generation. You two are much younger,
No, no, no.
but my
Don't make that mistake. I have
no,
good
no.
genetics,
Yeah.
and he's lost hair.
I'm saying our collective generation at least knew the difference. The youngsters today don't. They look at Arnab and the likes and say, okay, this is journalism. This is what it must be. Right? This is how you expose it. The whole of last year, we had stories which were not even investigated. Somebody caught in a car with a hidden camera and being asked to say whatever, and you don't know the antecedents of the guy, you don't know the agenda, or motives, possible motivations the guy might have, and you're putting that stuff on air and saying this is news. I mean, uh, you can't go any lower than that. So
Yeah.
we've destroyed it to a huge extent. I don't know how it can be. I think independent media or independent journalists, the likes of
Without
Varkha,
fear from,
Dhanya,
uh,
Faye, they are the ones who are still trying to keep Anubha. They're still trying to keep some
but they pay a
semblance of
price
it,
for that, don't they?
but they're too
It's not easy.
small. They're too small to really. It's
Yeah.
prime time news that needs to make that change.
Uh,
Wow.
It's terrifying.
it is, and it's just it's so qualitatively bad, right? I mean, like I can't. And this is, I mean, like it's honestly, it's without exception. I mean, like I
Look,
spent some time flipping through news channels over the pandemic, and I can't do it. I can't watch more than a
if
bit.
Amit, if you want to finally take on the government and criticize this present government, you have to outsource news to China. I think that's the only way to do it right now. I think that'll be fairly successful as
It'll
well.
get banned. They'll be releasing it as an app, and it'll get banned.
Nothing is better than getting banned. Getting banned makes you a superstar. I mean, name
That's
one
true.
banned person or thing which doesn't skyrocket after that. Yeah. Look at alcohol. They banned alcohol.
TikTok,
It's the best
dude,
business in the world.
they killed TikTok in India. Completely killed it, no?
But it's reborn in America and everywhere else. It's
It's
flying.
all over the world. It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
it's a really, like, in some ways it drives, it's a really bad policy, right?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden India is a country that doesn't have access to some of the best creators in the world making some of the
True.
most interesting content in the world. We don't have
True.
access to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Instead, we have Chingari and all these other apps, which are, they're, I mean, like, they're fine, but they're
Yeah, you
not.
sound elitist, Walkeshwar boy.
No, I mean, like,
चिंगारी मेरा नहीं है मुझे TikTok पसंद
There's
है.
no,
Takatak also.
there's
Takatak is
Takatak, there is
yeah.
Daily Hunt is doing something with
Josh.
Josh. That's it. Then
Mm.
there are a number of these apps, and they're all fine, right? But I mean, like, there's a reason why TikTok got the kind of popularity it did, right? It
Yeah.
had creation tools which were incredible. It had an incredible algorithm for
It
consumption,
was
and
on
we
another
just
level,
lost
wasn't
it.
it? Hmm.
It was, and I mean,
Mm.
like, it's something that the rest of the world gets, but we don't get right now. And I think that is,
And you blame Kangana for that.
I blame many things for that. I
You
I
know,
I,
I
I
have an interesting story on TikTok.
no.
I was taking a Uber from PVR Juhu back to Bandra, and the driver, I was talking to somebody, and he said, "Ma'am, आप TikTok पे हैं?" I said, "नहीं, मैं
Wow.
TikTok पे नहीं हूँ." He said, "मैं एक rap artist हूँ, मेरे 1 lakh followers हैं
What are you
TikTok पे."
saying?
Wow.
And then he started
Wow.
doing he did a rap and
Oh
he was so
wow.
good. And he said, मेरी wife के तो 2 lakh followers हैं. I said, अरे वाह. So I said, are you being able to monetize it? So he said, she can monetize, but I'm not being able to. मुझे आप सिर्फ रणवीर सिंह से मिलवा दो. Because Gully Boy had just come out at that time.
Okay.
So
The-
I was fascinated by his story. I think I still have his number on my phone.
that's amazing.
So now you just call him to rap.
चलो आज एक और सुना दे आज.
बजा दे.
No, but that's the
Uh,
kind of thing that TikTok unleashed, right? Like, I mean, honestly, when TikTok first came out, I was like, "What is this stuff?" Right? I mean, I was absolutely, who's
Hmm.
gonna watch 15-second videos, right? That was my first initial reaction. Then you installed it, you looked at it, and you started seeing the people who are making content and the kind of like incredibly imaginative, and also there's a bunch of incredibly misogynistic and incredibly hateful
Yes.
content there, but some
Yeah.
also incredibly kind of like just really really
Ingenuous. Yeah.
stuff made. And we lost it because our government wanted to fight with China wanted to fight with our government. I mean, like, it's not as
No,
if
no,
like
you can
we were
criticize the
on.
policy, Amit. I
Yeah.
don't. When 26/11 happened, Pakistan, I think, threw Pepsi out for some time, which
Oh,
sponsored all the cricket. Within 6 months, you had to bring them back. There's no
yeah.
correlation sometimes to the
Well,
thinking,
it's
also, no?
been a year now.
Well,
It's been a year
TikTok,
since we lost TikTok.
uh,
So the two big apps we lost, right?
2024, they'll reverse it.
We lost two big apps, right, that were used big in India, right? So TikTok and
Hmm.
PUBG. PUBG
PUBG.
is
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
PUBG has
PUBG is
come back.
back. Yeah.
They've come back as Battle Underground.
PUBG
Uh,
was endorsed by the PM in a
oh,
speech a couple of times, if I remember correctly.
I,
Yes.
Yeah,
it,
am I right,
Uh-huh.
Maruk?
Yes.
He's used
Yes.
yep.
the reference for the
Absolutely.
kids who were in the audience and they all,
Yeah.
clapped, which is
Yeah.
good. It was good thinking. Fair
Yeah.
enough. And then PUBG out.
But I'm
Whatever.
Yeah.
sure there are lobbies in India that are against TikTok. Maybe some developers are developing
100%.
something. Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
names we
Uh,
just
Otherwise,
mentioned,
it would have come back.
the names we
but
just
I
mentioned have taken the space, so
no,
they
but
have a lot to
Yes.
lose.
they still haven't eased up on a lot of those China restrictions they put in back then, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
even stuff like investments and stuff like that, where Chinese companies are not allowed to acquire Indian companies. The
I
way
think
they phrased it was
first
neighboring
things
countries are not allowed to acquire Indian
Hmm.
countries. But I mean, like
first
those things are
things
still in place.
first things first. We should get Ajinomoto back in the Chinese food. Yeah,
It's never
and
gone.
BVO back in the cold drinks.
It's
Okay.
never gone. Ajinomoto's
No,
always been in
Still
Chinese
there.
food.
Yeah.
but they kind of tell you, this is with or without and all that, and then you start feeling guilty, especially with old people around you. Now I'm an old person myself, so I don't know. I'm like, just kill me already. Just give me the worst diet, but let it taste good, and then let's not think about it. It's a waste of time. Okay, guys, AMAs, man's got to
Yes.
Airways.
work.
Okay.
The-
Airways.
Yep.
Check out Kunal Vijaykar's birthday. It was yesterday. There's no
Happy
money in the
Hey,
birthday,
happy
market.
Kunal.
birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Kunal. Did
Mahrukh,
you,
Mahrukh.
Kunal, did you see
Kunal, happy
the,
birthday. They're saying happy birthday.
and ask him if he saw the stories that you told about him
Did you
yesterday?
see the stories that they discussed on the show? Would you like
All
to come
live.
on? Would you like to come on
Kunal.
and rebuttal it? And can you bring Baman on to confirm the truth? Can you and Baman do 10 minutes for us together to confirm whether I'm lying or not? Okay. So now you've said it, so you have to do it.
Yes.
One last thing: have you got a boob
Are
job?
done.
Okay, Mahrukh, that's really rude. How dare you ask that?
Don't do that. I was
Unbelievable.
about to say he's
I'm
looking
sorry
so
about that,
good
brother.
in that.
Happy birthday, Kunal. Who cares? Right. EM is fast, guys.
All right, all right. So we have great comments. First one comes in from Bigfoot Specials. He just says, "I work at TikTok. It's not coming back." So I hope
Oh.
that's
No, how
you
do we
actually work
know?
for TikTok.
Like, policies change, bro. I mean, Coke
I mean,
was
it
thrown out
can,
of
yeah,
India and it came back years,
yeah, it
decades
could change
later.
overnight. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
What,
that's true.
Mahrukh, you're better than this than all of us. Nothing is forever, is it?
Nothing. Absolutely. Especially policy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And in the days of Sharad
That's
Pawar, you
the
knew that.
easiest thing to change.
There you go. Yeah.
Even though it's the
all right.
toughest, but it's the easiest in our context.
I think the great thing about politicians worldwide, we saw the fight in Australia with Google, etc., and all that, is that it's all about what they say on Monday doesn't have to hold on Friday. It really doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's. I don't think we should take it too seriously. I think we get too emotional when we think that what they are saying is gospel and all that. It's not like that at all. It's just blowing with the wind, and then it goes the other way. So we just have to see.
I was listening to Obama's book, and it's lovely listening to it because
Audacity
he's
of Hope.
narrating it. No, the latest one. I'm forgetting the name.
I hate
Um,
Trump. I haven't read it.
of his first term in office, and he's lovely because he's narrating it, and it's lovely to hear him. And I'm a big fan of audiobooks. And if you hear of the politics in America, honestly, it's no different from what's happening in
I'm
India.
sure.
Yep.
It's just that their institutions are so much stronger that you can't just get away with anything and just say anything and say,
No, but Mahrukh,
it's over by the next news cycle.
their press and their ability to show dissent, whether it's a common man
Yes.
or a comedian or a guy on radio or investigative reporter, is far more, because that's more
Oh,
robust
yes.
and powerful and they can really take
Absolutely.
on establishments, which is one
And
big problem
and
we're
the
having.
fact that they have survived Trump and the institutions still hold strong, I mean, that's remarkable. But
But
the
I think
politics, essentially, is no different. I mean,
No.
it's just the names are changed and the casts are changed. And
They have better accents
the
and wear
players are
suits. Yeah.
changed. But yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think when it comes to the press, I think like one of the big differences is the First Amendment, right? I mean, like the absolute kind of protection that provides
Yes.
versus the Indian constitutional amendment regarding freedom of speech, which like makes exceptions for not not offending people, right? I mean, like that just kind of changes the
I mean, that's a
entire.
paradox. We discuss this every time
Yeah,
on every
I
episode.
know
You
because
cannot
Yeah,
have freedom
it's
of
not
speech in the
just
next line, say, without
it's
offending
not just
people.
the freedom of press. It's also extremely strong libel and slander laws.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened last year, especially last year, in view of what they did to Ria and to Sushant and the whole
Yeah.
story, right? That won't happen in the US because there
Yeah.
are boundaries for the press also. The media needs checks and balances. We don't have any. We can pretty much say whatever we
Amit,
want.
he spoke of proof and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've got proof that he's medical
Yeah.
reports. They're all falsehoods. The
yeah.
defamation was easy anywhere in the world, I would think,
Hmm.
because they're recorded falsehoods that have been proclaimed by a person.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroying families, their friends, their supporters, their careers, their reputation.
Yeah, agreed.
Terrible.
I,
Terrible.
it's
The book by Obama is called The Promised Land. I was just
Ah,
trying to
okay.
1 minute.
check that.
Now with
Yes.
Israel going hammer and tongs again, I wonder if that's the best reference. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Oops. Hmm.
He won
Right.
a Nobel
Next
Peace
one.
Prize for that. Mm.
Well, Trump was on his way. He met Kim Jong Un. Luckily, they don't speak the same language, but they had so much in common. They fought over the. I think they fought over the lobster. They both grabbed the lobster at the same time, and then there was pulling and all
You
that.
know, I'd made a prediction to family and friends before the second COVID wave, that Mr. Modi would win a peace prize before his second term is over. And I felt he was going towards that, but the
If
second
that
wave
didn't
might have
happen,
changed a lot of things.
that
Yeah.
giving out the
Yeah.
vaccines abroad and all that, we were now the powerful country helping the altruism and all that. It was going in the right
And
direction.
also his approach towards Pakistan and wanting long lasting peace in the
The
region, I
moderate
think that would have
speaking,
been,
speaking.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
fair
It's
enough.
just
I think
that
you're
the
right.
second wave has kind of changed things for
A
him.
lot of people say that's his real aim, to try and get the
Mm,
Nobel Prize. And he's
yes,
always been traveling. We used to do the jokes that he's always traveling. He's always beyond India, his real capacity.
yes.
Yeah.
3 years left for elections. A lot of time for things to change.
But this COVID we thought
Mm.
would be over and done with. Now it's just crippling everybody.
Yeah, but still, elections aren't happening for 3 years. So I
And
mean,
Yeah.
not
like,
that we
we'll
have a
forget about
robust
COVID, but
opposition that is
And I think
actively
so.
doing anything
Yeah.
on the ground, right?
yeah,
I
agreed.
give you
Things can
one
change
name.
if we have an opposition.
Yeah, I give you one name, Mamta Banerjee. The ferocity of the wild tiger.
Mm.
Untamed. Dying, but untamed. Let's see what happens. I think only a woman can bring down Indian male politicians. You have to
I
figure out
agree
a
with
female.
you.
The ferocity of the female is always more. We've discussed this. Dogs across the world, police forces keep females for ferocity and loyalty. They may be smaller in size, but they are more ferocious and loyal. So I go with a female form to bring down governments.
I agree with you 100%, Cyrus.
There you go.
And also because the never underestimate the woman voter.
Hmm.
She's
Which
quiet
is a
and
new
she
demographic,
is so
you would say
powerful.
also. Yeah.
Yes. She
I,
controls the Indian household.
it's I read somewhere that basically the reason why Indian polls do not kind of reflect anywhere close to what finally winds up happening is because nobody knows how the Indian woman is voting.
Yes. And
Especially,
pollsters underestimate that role all
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
And the pull she has on the entire family, in a sense.
That's absolutely.
But you think of the man as the leader and all that, but the woman will decide when the ground reality of how much is costing what and what is doing what for her family. Yeah, I think that, and yeah, that's true. That's a huge
You know,
thing.
as an aside, do we still have time? Because this story might take a bit. No,
Okay.
just that just a short story.
Yeah.
In Kashmir, with the rise of Wahhabism and fundamentalism and radicalism, I had a friend who was actually writing a book, and he said that one of the reasons why radicalism will not grow in Kashmir is because of the Kashmiri woman. She controls the household. She believes in Sufi saints. She goes to these dargahs, and she'll always take her son or her daughter with her when she goes to the dargah. And that is what kind of gets ingrained in the child, and that's why they don't go towards radicalism. It was a very interesting point of view. I think it's changing very fast on the ground, but the Indian woman is always underestimated, including me.
Now that's like stand up. You led us up a wrong path and then superbly punched in the end. Yeah, nice, nice. Shall we quickly do one more, guys? I have to go
Yeah.
and pretend to work again.
Sure. Girish Patil asks, Cyrus, do you want to have a Hello Friends reunion? Now
I
your friends is having a reunion.
I pulled out of Hello Friends, so I don't know if they want me back. Ajit Pal, the maker, is somewhere in New Zealand, safe at the moment. But if they're going to shoot another episode, as long as they write it in a way where it's not a copy of Friends, just translated from English, because I think that was a big failure trying to do it that way. They have to sort of localize it, like they try to do with Raymond also. And the problem is culturally, these things have to change completely. You just take the premise of people living together, and then it has to change completely. It just doesn't work. Uh,
The
as
Office
we
worked,
found
no?
out.
The Indian Office worked.
No, it didn't.
I thought it
Didn't
worked
work.
okay.
No.
It's not like I love
Gopal
The
is
Office
here, and
anyway.
it didn't work.
Okay.
Uh, these are tough ones. Tough times, guys. Tough times.
Okay.
That's why I drive a Uber cab and rap in my spare time. Okay, quick. One more. They haven't called me
Okay,
yet.
one more. Yeah. Anish Raul asks, Cyrus, what's something you wish you knew when you landed in NYC? I came here 3 months ago and would love to hear your insights from you.
But the first problem I had was the accent, especially Brooklynish the more the twangy. Correct me if I'm wrong, Amit. They've got this very twangy accent, which is tough on the ear to pick
Yeah.
up. Very pointed words, and it's nasally as well. So I was, and then you start getting intimidated because you can't ask a person, pardon 2 or 3 times, because the Americans get really irritated. They're brusque sort of personalities. So while they're friendly and warm, in 2 minutes it's like they've lost it. So I went everywhere I went. I had to keep asking again and again. Finally found the Cuban ladies in Strasbourg who spoke bad English. It was a blessing in disguise, because they struggled to put words together, and I could take my time, and I could put the conjunction in for them, and a preposition here, a dot there, a comma here. So that was good. The other thing is, don't make eye contact on the subway, bro. Firstly, my skin color, I used to wear crucifix and a Knicks thing. Nobody looked at me. They
No,
were
but
more
you went
scared of
early
brown skinned men.
90s. You went early
Yeah.
90s.
No, but listen,
You can go to the subway now. It's very, very safe now.
no, but everybody looks down, reads their own. No,
But there are
of course,
quite
now
a
everybody.
few rats there, so it's quite
Yes.
No, but
scary
I'm compared to
nowadays.
Mumbai, okay, or Mumbai or Gurgaon for that matter. Just compare it, where everybody just stares at everybody. We are a staring people.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You mean like that?
So we Indians, we don't know what's being hostile. I keep telling people
Yeah.
when they stare at me, oh, anywhere else in the world they'll kill you. You have to be careful. So in America, the last thing you want to do is that.
So I have a cousin from New York. I have two cousins from New York. One of them speaks in that Brooklyn kind of accent, right?
twangy
And
thing, yeah.
he spent 2 years living in India. Man, it was hilarious. Nobody could understand him.
Yeah.
Nobody could understand him. He was working for, I think, one of the investment bank, Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or one of them. And he was over here, and he was like, it was so like. I could not believe that he could get anything done because he doesn't speak any Hindi, doesn't speak any Gujarati, only speaks English, and nobody can understand him. It
Yeah,
was
It's a
great.
funny thing about dialects and accents. You can speak the language perfectly and you have no idea what the guy's saying. It's ridiculous, and I feel a lack of, your empowering thing goes the other way completely, after 1 week when you meet someone like that. So those were very intimidating moments initially for me, because New Yorkers are what they say. They're straightforward and in a way ruthless in their, approach to everything. It's just straightforward and whatever. But then you catch on. And you do the same thing, like you talk to someone in a dismissive but polite fashion. The please and thank yous are actually they're impolite. Yeah. Okay, please next. Okay, please next, please. Yeah. I mean, it's not really please. It's like, you motherfucker, why aren't you moving up forward faster? Actually, that's and then the scared Desi Indian man is like, what to say? You start losing everything, including accent. But after a couple of weeks, you start becoming part of it. And it was great fun. Suddenly I saw Denzel Washington walking on a street. It was amazing, just out of the blue. So I was, you're not going to see Amitabh Bachchan walking on the street, so those experiences of New York was a great leveler. You see all kinds of, on the subway, you've got someone, Goldman Sachs head is standing there with a gold pen worth, millions of dollars or whatever. And a McDonald's employee is right next to him reading a paper. So all that is good, which we don't have here, which if the metros to be a success, we have to have.
Yeah.
Everyone takes that metro,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Agreed.
All right, should we do one more? We
Sure.
have time? Yeah, we have time.
All right. Girish Patel has another question. He says, what's your opinion on Elon Musk after his adventures with cryptocurrencies?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not happy. I have a little money in crypto. I'm not happy.
Is it IVM money or is it personal money?
Personal money.
But I heard there was a 30% drop or something.
The
Right? Like a huge
30% drop. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It's like 1/3 value gone.
Temporary.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm
But
sure
it'll come
temporary.
back.
Okay.
See, again,
Yeah.
the idea with crypto is if you're investing crypto with the idea of buying and selling, you're a fool because you don't know crypto, you don't understand crypto. The idea that I have is just put a little bit of money in crypto every month and let it sit over there and see what happens. Play money which you're not serious about. I haven't played poker in a year, so basically
Okay. So
instead of
what's the
spending
end
money on
game?
poker, I'm putting money into
Is it
crypto.
like no? Is it a mutual fund to you? What's the end game?
It's yeah, I mean, like it's a mutual fund. It's a gamble. It's like it's like putting. It's a long-term gamble. Who knows?
So you don't
Right?
even give it a thought. You're
I
saying
don't
this is
even
a
give it a
lottery.
thought.
I put it
Yeah,
in, and whatever happens, happens. And I
happens.
put it in not enough for me to ever feel
Well,
anything.
I check fairly obsessively at least 4 or 5 times a week. I go and check what the value of it is. But yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not taking any money out of it, right? I mean, like, and if I'm doing anything, right, I might move money from Bitcoin to Dogecoin or Dogecoin to Ethereum or something like that. But I'm not doing anything beyond that, right? And so it's basically. But yeah, no, I'm not happy. It is
But
one third of the
you are
value's gone.
investing in you're investing in Dogecoin as well.
I did a little Dogecoin when all that nonsense was going on, and then I'm like, no, I can't do
Yeah.
Dogecoin. This is just too stupid.
But you have more money than I thought.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
dude, it's
First
like,
and foremost, because
dude,
there's relevant conventional investing which you must be doing, and then
uh,
you would have to throw it down on
dude,
these
this is
products which
nothing.
are
Yeah,
slightly far fetched.
I put in like 7,500, 10,000 rupees a month into this. Yeah, it's nothing.
That's one third of my dad's medical supplies for the month.
One third of your dad's medical supplies for a month. I'm
Okay,
sure
it's not
that's
as
not a big part of your overall family expenditure.
yeah. My family eats too much, man.
Yeah.
Should have just one community meal, just that's it, once a day, and like animals we come and feed. Oh man, I wish I had my own cow. Yeah. Can we drink the urine for nutrition, Mahrukh? What's it?
Yes, yes,
Huh?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Since
Marukh's
I'm the
not.
new
Why
authority
would
on
Maruk
cow
say no?
urine, yes.
When the guest comes, we'll be like, "Ek glass pisa pila do or tang mere liye." Okay, guys.
Okay.
It's been a wonderful morning, and now I have to go play with my friends. Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Mahrukh, thank you so much for coming on our show. Please come once in a while,
Wonderful.
whenever you feel
Won-
free and
Yeah.
bored. This is the last Sebastian for investigative journalism. We brought a line in the sand.
I
We
had a
stand.
great time. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
Bye,
All right.
guys.